All right, I know you were asked about Chase Straw last week, but I was in Kansas City, so I was not able to ask you about Chase Straw. What changed about midway through this season for him that allowed him to have such a successful tournament? What's it say about his mindset that he's able to wrestle for one allocation and get that one allocation?
I think it's just a belief. I think he'd punched the clock long enough, and I think some good things happened in the room, and then I saw some really good things happen, on the mat. We had a kind of called him out after one dual meet in January that didn't really go so well, and then getting the I think a real big turning point was when he got the draw at Oklahoma State, and he was the first guy out. I think that was big. I think that he went out there and at Stillwater got the call and went won. I think that was a big turning point for him. And I think his confidence was kind of starting to build, and he kind of took off. I think from then on he might have went like 10 out of 12 or something.
I think it's 8 teams nationally that are taking 9 or more guys there. What does it say to be able to kind of have that flip where Dagan's the only one that goes last year, and then he's bringing a crew with him?
I think it says that obviously we are a very much improved team, but that doesn't that's not a hard step compared to last year. But I think we made a big step this year, not just a step. I think we made a big step. Now, in the competitive spirit of the NCAA tournament, we need to do well. We need to have a good weekend. Not from a pressure standpoint, but just from a let's put a exclamation point on this season, and that's what we have an opportunity to do. So, I think we're taking 9 is a good number, big number.
What's the exclamation point look like? What's your goal for this team?
I've never, I don't think all year long that I've came out and said, okay, give you a hard number. If I picked up the paper on Sunday morning and we had 4 All-Americans, 5 All-Americans, it wouldn't shock me. But if also I picked up the paper and we had 0 All-Americans, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, that's if you look at the season and the seedings, we've got a bunch of guys ranked or seeded, I guess, between say like 6 and 18, and so that means you're in the hunt, but you're on the fringe of either wrestling on Saturday or not wrestling on Saturday. So that's a pretty wide range. And I kind of say that every year as a coach. As your team gets better, it's not so much okay. We might have 4 on a bad tournament and 6 on a good tournament All-Americans. We're not there yet. We just need to put some guys at the podium this weekend. That's our first step.
What's it take for a guy like Jarrett Dagan, who is around a 12 guy, to become that All-American that you're talking about?
With Jarrett, it's just about his effort's great. It's just about kind of minimizing mistakes. He's done a much better job with it. But even in the match he lost, he took kind of an ill-advised bad shot at the end of the match that cost him the match. But his effort's off the charts, and we coach effort, and so when he continues to tighten up things like that, he'll be right in the hunt.
Are you a guy that can stop and appreciate the strides and growth that are made in season? I mean, just because you're going from thing to thing to thing, that it's probably hard to pause too long. But can you see things or appreciate things in the season of the growth that guys?
As I've gotten older as a coach, I have been able to sit back and go, yeah, if I look at the body of work this year, that was good. The competitive side of me is that when it starts Thursday, I'll forget all about that, and it's like we're going to win it all, we're here to win it all. But someday when I'm old in my rocker, I'll look back at 2018, 19 and say, dang, those guys hit it hard.
How much can you rely on a guy like Willie Miklas as far as his experience in the NCAA tournament, especially helping guys like Chase Straw and Austin Gomez who are going in their first tournament?
Well, Willie's really good at keeping, Willie's kind of a loose guy, and I say that in a good way. He's just real lighthearted. And going into a tournament like that, that's the way you want to be. He doesn't put a lot of pressure on himself, and hence I see that the team kind of feeds off that a little bit. So we got a young team. I mean, geez, we got a lot more freshmen and sophomores wrestling than we do juniors and seniors. We got 7 freshmen and sophomores and 1 junior and 1 senior. So it's good. Everybody's first time to the big show except for Dagan. So they're all kind of trying to figure it out. Once we get to Pittsburgh tomorrow and step onto that mat, I think the bigness will hit them. But I think Willie's a good guy just to say, hey, just another wrestling tournament, guys. Let's just go do it.
Gomez kind of seems like a guy who likes that big stage. Probably didn't do as well as he would have liked to down in Tulsa, but what do you want to see out of him in Pittsburgh?
I think just going out and when he hits his offense, sometimes, he's young. Sometimes he lets guys kind of slow him down a little bit. When he hits his offense, he's pretty good, but he's a great competitor, like you said. And so he just needs to compete. And he's a guy that's probably been watching the NCAA tournament since he's been 5. So he knows every daggone loop, hole, and nook and cranny of the NCAA tournament. So he'd probably tell you more what's going on than I can. So.
How do you make sure his offense doesn't slow down, or how does he have to make sure that doesn't happen?
Well, guys know if they get a hold of him and grab a hold of him, and he's a young guy, and he gets a hold of the guy from Wyoming was a real mature guy and big, strong guy, and sometimes when somebody gets a hold of you like that, it's hard to shake him. So when he's moving his feet and moving his hands, and you probably have heard him say that. We've coached him up on that, and getting angles, he's pretty darn good.
How are you helping prepare the guys mentally for what's to come?
Hey, it's the biggest date of the year is always the next date, so nothing changes. It's routine. Obviously there's more excitement going into this, but we go out. We as wrestlers and as these guys as wrestlers all went out for wrestling to have fun. The first time they stepped on the mat, that was the objective, was to have fun when they were 5 or 6 or 7, depending on how old they were. But it doesn't matter if you're 20, 21, 22, you still go out there to have fun. So we're going to go have some fun.
Or if you're 20.